Hey everybody, welcome back to Rhode Island. If it's your first time, thank you. My name is Farai, and I'm just a regular car guy, a little bit obsessed, a bit blessed, and basically today's episode is gonna be uh, me drawing. I love drawing. Well, I like drawing cars. So if we look right here, this, and I truly mean it when I said I'm blessed. This took me a minute, most likely less. I had the idea in my head for a couple of days. I was gonna save it for better time when I had time, and because I don't like doing little sketches, I don't like doing things twice. But something came over me, and I decided to go ahead and just doodle what was in my head, just so I can kind of get the ball rolling, get the wheels spinning, and yeah, and this is what I came up with in like a minute. So to backtrack a little bit, it's kind of a crazy time we're living in a good way. Obviously, there's a lot of craziness going on outside, but it's an awesome time to be alive. So many things are going on, and one of the recent things that I just spoke about in one of my other videos is kind of making that old video, what's the word, obsolete, old news, because it has to deal with it's the video I made was dealing with what's going on with Stellantis, and in particular with the Chrysler and Dodge brands. I spoke about a recent channel I came across, TK's Garage. Check him out. He's like a Mopar guy. He's definitely a Mopar guy. I'm sure he likes other stuff too. I don't know. But he's been reviewing and discussing recent developments in the Stellantis saga. And and that saga has just kind of just been going crazy over the last couple days, last few days, which is, again, that's what I mean by the world is just crazy. So I made a video about what I thought, kind of a reaction to his video, and also the news that's circulating. And yeah, that's kind of old news now because apparently, what's his name? The great grandson of Walter P. Chrysler, Frank B. Rhodes Jr. He he's made some news. He was making some news previously with his dissatisfaction at the turn of events in Stellantis and the mismanagement, and he offered some ideas, which I was surprised to hear, and I loved what he came up with. He was coming up with ideas as far as just making Chrysler an American company again and putting it in the hands of the people, management wise, which I'm all for. And I like the sound of it, but I also know that it's a lot easier said than done. But then he came back a few days ago with a proposal, and I read a little bit of it. It sounded like more of the same of his dissatisfaction and his dissatisfaction and his what's the word? Basically, he was championing Chrysler's heritage and saying that it can't go down the way it is going down. It can't go to another country. It can't be diluted. It can't be, I don't even know what the term is for, the business term is for defunct. It can't go defunct. And I feel the same way. It just doesn't make any sense. It's one of the big three. You have GM, you have Ford, and you have Chrysler. And me being a car lover, I went and did some research just because I was looking for some inspiration. because I have ideas of my own, and I'm jumping all over the place. So I have some ideas of my own about what models these car companies need to come up with, what they need to give to the customers, because I am a customer. I've never bought a Chrysler product. Um, Not that they don't have good cars. There's other cars that speak more to me, but that doesn't mean to say that I wouldn't buy one in the future, and that I don't currently have projects that I wouldn't mind having Chrysler powertrains in. I'm that kind of enthusiast. Like, I want to build cars, and so I look at it from an engineering standpoint. I look at it from a design standpoint. I look at it from a consumer standpoint, as far as what Chrysler means to me and the country and the economy overall. A lot said there, kind of rambling, but basically, again, I have ideas of what I think could help in this situation. Easy ideas, which I don't know why they didn't do it, which is, again, is very frustrating for enthusiasts to see Chrysler going through this, because we can be like, okay, why are they broke? Why are they not selling? I know why they're not selling, because they're not making what people want, but why are they not making what people want? That brings me to today's video, and that is, I believe I have something people want from Chrysler, something Chrysler doesn't have, something Chrysler alluded to way back in the day and just never delivered on, because the economy, the demand really isn't there. But sometimes you have to make the demand. Sometimes people don't know what you want until you present it to them. So what I'm talking about is a mid-engine sports car, and the bean counters throughout the years, if you follow any manufacturer, if you follow any industry news, the bean counters don't like sports cars. They want to give you the utilitarian point A, point B commuter cars, commuter SUVs, crossovers. They want to go to the bread and butter things, which is fine, which is great, but at a certain point, you follow the crowd, you start to not be able to distinguish yourself from the crowd, and that's kind of unacceptable when you have that kind of heritage that Chrysler has. Just to kind of break up this video, I think I'm gonna add some pictures of what Chrysler's design language has been like over the years. And I was surprised with this video from Mr. Rhodes at how aspirational, how, what's the word? It's like Art Deco, how artistic, how impactful. There's so many other adjectives I could use. I'll think of a good one after. Otherwise, I'll just lock my brain up. But Chrysler design is kind of incredible. It's kind of incredible. A lot of chrome, but just a lot of cool design features, which is, endemic. Is that the word? Endemic of the times. But the fact that Chrysler, a lot of the designs I've seen before, which I didn't know what kind of cars were, that I just attributed to either being one of the big three, a lot of them were Chrysler in the 60s, you know, and the space age era. And a lot of that stuff, I thought, Cadillac had a lot of the rocket tail. I forget what the term is, the rocket tail design features, or the tail fin rockets. I thought a lot of that was Cadillac. Turns out Chrysler had a bunch of that stuff. I'm not saying I don't know who came up with it first, but Chrysler was in full effect as far as just splashing design elements everywhere. Just crazy design elements, just unique, just powerful, just extravagant. I think that's the word, extravagant design features and cues, just because they could, because it was that kind of a brand. So I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, Chrysler has a lot of designs, and it doesn't make any sense why it doesn't make sense for a company like that, an American company, to just go defunct. The only thing that makes sense is that it's mismanaged, whether purposely or accidentally. I lean more towards the former. That, yeah, they want to kill these brands. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. I can speculate, but that's a video for another day. I'd love to talk to some other guys, maybe TK's Garage, as to why, but that might get a bit of, that's for another time. Anyways, I am saying a whole lot of maybe nothing, but I'm trying to just kind of introduce myself and introduce this video and what I'm about to do. Introduce to you the scenario, the situation as it stands today. I don't know what's going on today. There's some kind of proposal for Chrysler, but like I was saying, I think what I was leading to was, as an enthusiast, or as enthusiasts, we always have common sense approaches to what they should offer. Always. Always. You'll read the forums, you read the comments, they say, why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? And we're not saying that they shouldn't make the bread and butter, the basic vehicles, the basic transportation vehicles that people need, affordable transportation. But at a certain point, this term always gets thrown around a lot. You need a halo product. Chrysler doesn't have a halo product. And it's amazing that they got away with not having one for this long. But I think that has been probably the biggest Achilles heel. I think they got away with it because of the success of the 300C, which is a magnificent car. I love the way that looks. It's got that gangster 40s vibe on it with the low. I mean, it's not really low because they designed it to accommodate real people, but it's almost got like a chopped top roof type of thing going on. It's just great design. It's simple. It looks cheap to make, which again, I can appreciate when you can do a simple design and also make it cheap to make. Whether that's the case or not, I don't know, but I'm learning. I'm not a designer I'm not a professional designer, but I like to learn, and I'm always going to keep learning. And that's what this channel is about. Just me learning, and just expressing myself. So without further ado, let's express ourselves with this car. I don't. Oh, so all that to say, well, we're not going to get into it. Sorry. So through my research and just delving into Chrysler history, and I didn't even go that far. I just Googled Chrysler. I Googled 300C, or the Chrysler 300, because I knew that was a car from back in the day. That nomenclature is not new to the 2000s or whenever that 300C, the current generation, came out, or the last generation 300 came out. That designation has been around since the 60s, I believe, maybe even longer. But I didn't go that deep into the Wikipedia article when I saw that they had a car that competed in Le Mans. And that car was called a 6 because it had an inline 6. I was like, oh, that's a cool name. And I was like, and because it's part of Stellantis and because I love Maserati, I own a Maserati project myself. Yeah, it doesn't run, but it's a bi-turbo. You'll probably be seeing more of it in the background of my other videos. But because I do like Maserati as a brand, they have that same heritage. They have a crazy heritage. That's another one that's kind of wavers in and out of profitability or popularity or relevance for whatever reason. Again, I think it's mismanagement. But anyways, Maserati, I like the new car. I like their new MC20. I liked it from the get-go. I was like, yes, thank you. They have never had a halo product, a race car. And I was like, yes. When that came out, I was like, yes. Styling aside, powertrain aside, excuse me, they put the product out there as cheaply as they could. And because I'm thinking that's why they went with the V6 twin turbo, as efficiently as they could, as dynamic as they could, and they gave us something. They gave us something. That's what I was saying with all that other rambling was Chrysler didn't give people something. They didn't give us anything as far as a Halo product. And for enthusiasts, we like speed. You don't have to like speed to enjoy cars, but it kind of goes with it, you know. So me, I don't know if you're probably getting to where this is coming. You're probably seeing where this is going. And that was definitely some dyslexia right there. You're probably seeing where this is going with this little sketch that I have here. But I was like, Stellantis could have easily invested in Chrysler and brand engineered a Chrysler Halo product, which is something Mr. Rhodes was alluding to. He's like, they made like $3 billion in profit and none of it went to Chrysler and Dodge. It's like, what was the purpose of Stellantis? And that's something that I said in my own video. I was like, I thought the whole purpose of Stellantis was to what's the word? I'm terrible at losing words that are on the tip of my tongue. It was basically, the purpose of Stellantis was to divide the cost amongst all these brands and share the costs. And basically, that seems to be not what's happening because they have not been sharing the costs. Because all of a sudden, you have them all losing. All the brands are losing. No one's buying Fiats according to Chrysler. Stay tuned to this video. I'm gonna react to the video Mr. Rhodes made and go over his proposal letter, which is 17 pages. But the beginning of it was just, you know, hitting them over the head and with accountability, and was wondering what they're doing. So I guess now, without further ado, we're gonna get into this. And I was thinking of a bunch of different names, so I was coming up with names like Chrysler 6, but that didn't have a nice enough ring to it. But it did work because the Maserati is a 6-cylinder and it makes about 600 horsepower. And again, the name goes way back into Chrysler heritage, so you always want to bring up your heritage, and because people are going to wonder why it's called the 6. You can say, well, one, the engine's a 6-cylinder twin turbo. It makes about 600 horsepower, which is kind of serendipitous. I don't think that's the power cars have nowadays at that level, at that price point. So it just works out. And Chrysler had a 6 back in the day. I think I said that twice. So 6 was a name that they had, was a model name they had for, actually a lot of companies had that name. It's a 6-cylinder and it makes about 600 horsepower. And then, but I was like, 6 doesn't really, it's not really 2024. It sounds 1924, you know? But, and then it clicked. I was like, oh, it could be the Chrysler 600. You had the 300. Now we jump all the way to 600, which is excellent because it leaves you 4 and 5, which I hope they don't really use. If I was to run it, if I could have a seat at the table, if I could have Mr. Rhodes' ear and give my own little 2 cents, I would say skip 4 and 5, go straight to 6. Start making 300s again. And make that be your main platform where you can build sedans, which are not really popular, but you still want to give people sedans because some people like sedans. The police like sedans. Actually, no, I think they like. Well, I don't know. Some people like sedans, so give people options. So have a 300 sedan and a 300 SUV. You don't have to call it anything else. You don't have to call it you don't have to have people go to a Durango. You don't have to people go to Dodge. You can have a 300 luxury SUV crossover. And the way you can differentiate it from the C, the sedan, is just what they did back in the day. Again, all this stuff is, I'm not a genius. I'm just following the lead of what worked in the past. So now you just have different trim levels. Like I don't know what the trim levels are. I can't think of one right now. But you just have different trim levels, and people will know that oh no, that's a, like Town and Country. Town and Country is a Chrysler brand, so you can have a 300 Town and Country. Because nowadays, I think most people relate Town and Country with the minivan, which is fine. That's been a great seller for years. But again, we're trying to revitalize, we're trying to reinvigorate, we're trying to do things a little differently. So you can have a Chrysler Town and Country, and I'm really interested in doing that. And I don't know why I feel like I'm doing Chrysler's job for them, but at the same time, as an artist, as a creative, I'm also interested in just be seeing what I can come up with for the designs. And basically in my head I have I'm thinking in my head, I'm aspiring to what Spiker had. If you don't know Spiker, plenty of videos out there, but they had a car, a concept called the Spiker Paris to Dakar. And it was a crossover before crossovers got big, and it was a luxury crossover before crossovers got big. Now you have Bentley making crossovers, you have Rolls Royce making crossovers or SUVs, Lamborghini SUV. Chrysler needs that. Chrysler needs that, and it can definitely be a Dodge, but just call it a Chrysler 300, Town and Country, or Chrysler 300 something else, something that harkens back to those days. Belvedere, Chrysler 300 Belvedere. You know, I've said a lot. I should pause this because wow, 22 minutes of just straight talking. Damn. I hope you guys. Damn. If you stuck around this long, thank you. I appreciate you listening to me ramble. I'm a rambler, and I'm an AMC rambler. But at this point, after making videos for this long, for a long time, or recording, I know that I'm just paranoid of losing footage, so I'm gonna pause it and come right back, and maybe drink some water.